Yeah.
Okay, hi everybody, and welcome, and thank you for coming along today. This is our third event, and today we're looking at studying English and explore Ireland, and our country focus is Mexico. I'd like to welcome the agents who've joining us live today on this event, but also we'd like to welcome those who are going to watch it afterwards. I've received a number of emails from a number of agencies who are looking forward to watching this presentation afterwards. We'd like to thank you for taking the time to review this event, whether you're doing it live or after we have finished. Also, welcome to the schools who are on today's presentation. In Galway, there's myself from Bridgemill's Galway Language Centre. We also have Atlantic Language Galway present here. From Cork, we've got Cork English College, and we've got ACET in Cork. And from Dublin, we have representatives from ATC, Atlas Language School, Centre of English Studies, Emerald Cultural Institute, and Corner School in Dublin. For today's presentation then, we're going to start with just some opening remarks from Jonathan at Centre of English Studies. He's going to bring us up to date on the situation in Ireland regarding travelling into Ireland for Mexican students. And then we'll have three presentations. We're going to Scarlett O'Hara at Emerald Cultural Institute, first of all, who's going to tell us a little bit about studying in Dublin. Then we're moving to Elvis Sena, who's in Atlantic Language Galway, who'll talk to us about studying in Galway. And then finally to Mark Cullen in Cork English College, who's going to give us some information about studying in Cork. During the event, if you can make sure to mute your microphones, but do send questions in the chat box, or you can send them by email. And also Mark and Jonathan are fluent Spanish speakers, so by all means, post questions in Spanish if you need to, and we'll be able to answer those questions at the end of the event. So if we can get started then, we'll go to you, Jonathan, first of all, and if you can just bring us up to date with the situation at the moment. Jonathan, you're muted there. Jonathan, you're muted there.
Yeah, gotcha. Yeah. Sorry. Yes, trying to. Can you see that? Hopefully, you've got my screen.
Lovely.
Okay, super. Well, what I thought I would do initially, Pat, is just kind of go through, for those people that don't know us, a little bit of information on Select, and then I'll touch on the current situation in Ireland. If anybody would prefer que hablo español, ningún problema, but just drop it into the chat box and the guys can let me know. Very quickly, as you can see, Select Ireland is a new marketing group that was founded a little bit of time ago. I'll go through some more details on the kind of the when and the where in one or two more slides, but you can see that we're a group of schools that covers the entire country of Ireland. As Patrick touched on earlier on, we've got two member schools in Galway, Atlantic and Bridgemill's Galway Language Academy. In Dublin, we've ATC, Atlas Dublin, Centre of English Studies, Emerald Cultural Institute, and the Horner School of English, some of whom are on the presentation here with us. And then in Cork, ACET in Cork and Cork English College, CEC. And obviously, a lot of the guys will know that these three cities, as well as being the location for some of the top English language schools in Ireland, were also the location for some of the top universities, which we hope will be of interest for some of your students going forward. Again, touching on, we've got Dublin, Cork, and Galway, and really all of the Select schools are members. Some of us actually founder members. I know Cork English College, Mauro would have been one of the founder members from Emerald and the Horner School of Marketing English in Ireland. And we're all still very proud members of Marketing English in Ireland, but we're also members of other associations. Some of the schools would be Quality English, some are YALC accredited as well. A lot of the schools would be Equals members, and we're all members of Alto as well. And from an agent perspective, the real focus that we would like you to keep in mind is these kind of points across here, that you're dealing with quality English language schools that have long history, that have a proven success track record, who have decided to come together to collaborate to try and improve what we're doing in the marketplace. but we're also focusing a lot on professional development for our staff and our team members and our teachers. So we're kind of cross-sharing what we're doing. And we hope that we're going to be in the future run agent training events collaboratively as well, so that you'll get a cross section of the entire country in one stop. Again, as I said, a little bit of information. Basically, this is the timeline as to what's happened. Perfect timing on our behalf. We started with the initial meeting, and again, as a new marketing group based in Ireland, and things were taking off. We had designed a new website. We had got our brand sorted out. We were working on an official launch right before COVID hit, and then everything kind of slowed down. But what happened over the period with COVID was that it was a great sense of advice, probably more than anything else, where the select schools were able to advise each other on what was happening, how things were going. When we came to reopening, people were able to share information as the best way to open, so that we all followed government protocols, but to the highest possible standards. And you'll see that going forward with my colleagues in Scarlett from Dublin, Mark in Cork, and Elvis in Galway. So we're planning a few events going forward together. There's always going to be MEI events, but there's going to be Select Ireland events. So what I would say is keep an eye on our website, and you'll be contacted by the individual members of Select going forward as to what our plans are. The current situation in Ireland is good, if we're honest, that the country is now officially open. Things are moving definitely in the right direction. From the 20th of September, we were all allowed to start welcoming in new clients, and this has gone to the next level now. So the in certain countries that had to do the mandatory hotel quarantine, stuff like that's now all gone. So we've been given the green light to welcome in new students. So as long as the students it's going to take some time, obviously, for them to get their travel plans sorted out, but the schools are all ready and able to welcome in new students. As I said, the government have given us the green light. As long as we've followed all the protocols, have reopened successfully, which I know all of the select schools have. So we're ready, willing, and able to welcome all your students. And as you'll hear from my colleagues, anything that you need, any questions or doubts that you might have, let us know, and we will be able to come back to you immediately with solutions for any problems that you might have. But definitely, as long as a student has the correct vaccine, has negative PCR on arrival, they're able to come straight into the country, and off they go. So we're looking forward to welcoming your clients to Dublin. So what I'll do is I'll stop sharing, and I'll pass on to Patrick and to, I think it's Scarlett. Is it Scarlett? Or? Scarlett. So off you go, Scarlett, and I'll mute myself.
Thank you. Thanks, Jonathan. Hi, everybody. My name is Scarlett. I'm from the Emerald Cultural Institute, and I'm very happy to be with you today to talk a little bit about Dublin. For us, you know, it has been a little bit of a strange time, so it's super and very positive that we're back to talk about welcoming your students and why you should choose Ireland and Dublin, Cork and Galway as a destination for your students. So Dublin is the capital city of Ireland, and it is one of the leading destinations in the world for English language learning. A little bit of background, first of all. Ireland is a proud member of the European Union, I should say, since 1973. It has a population of 5.1 million. The currency here is the euro, and our mother tongue is, of course, English. I suppose a fact that is more important now than ever, and that Jonathan also touched on there, is that the vaccination rate in Ireland is actually 90%. So of all adults over the age of 16 are now fully vaccinated against COVID-19. And actually interesting as well, I read at lunchtime that Ireland has just been announced by Bloomberg, the news agency, as #1 in the world for COVID resilience. So in their monthly snapshot of where the virus is being handled the most effectively with the least social and economic upheaval, Ireland is now ranked #1 in the world. So that's pretty impressive statistic that we will of course jump on. So Dublin, as I said, is the capital city. The Dublin's greater area has a population of 1.24 million. So in the grander scheme of things, not a huge capital city, but still a big city within Ireland. 49% of Dublin's population are actually under the age of 30. So why should a Mexican student choose Dublin as a destination for English language study? There are, of course, many reasons. The first, of course, Jonathan touched on it already, is the quality of the accredited language schools in the different cities, Dublin, Cork and Galway. Like Jonathan mentioned, all of the schools here today are QQI and ACELS accredited, so by the Department of Education here in Ireland, as well as members and accredited by different global accreditation bodies, it should be said. So in Ireland, to become an English language teacher in an accredited English language school, you have to have a university degree and a recognised English language teaching qualification. This is not the case in all countries and in all jurisdictions, it should be said. So it means that the quality of the teaching in Ireland is, of course, of a very high standard, and something that you as a partner agencies of ours can be confident of. So how do you get here? Dublin Airport is the largest airport in Ireland. It also is very well connected, it must be said, on the ground to Galway and Cork. It is 15 minutes from the city centre. I was reading that thinking that's quite an optimistic timeline, but 15 to 30 minutes, let's say, from the city centre of Dublin, depending on traffic. There are 36 airlines based in Dublin Airport, travelling to over 180 destinations. It is the main airport of Aer Lingus and Ryanair, which are both Irish airlines. An important, I suppose, part of what we offer here is our connectivity to Europe. And so very many of our students and very many of our long-term students take the opportunity to visit Europe, mainland Europe and Eastern Europe when they are here in Ireland. And the good value and cheap flights allow them the option of doing this. So that is an interesting option for your students when they're here in Ireland. I think something that will become more and more important going forward is the quality of life that Ireland as a study destination and Dublin as a study destination offers. So in a study at the end of 2020, so not that long ago, if it's not pre-COVID, Ireland was ranked 2nd in the world for quality of life in a United Nations study. And the study was based on 3 areas: health, education, and income. So I do think that provides an insight into what options are available to students when they come to Ireland. Supporting this is the fact in Dublin, there are so many green spaces and parks. You have the Phoenix Park, which is the greatest urban or city park, the largest urban or city park in Europe, plus so many other botanic gardens. You see pictures here of Malahide Castle and gardens and park. You can think of so many parks in Dublin, and it does provide a lovely background for students' life and their lifestyle when they're living here in Dublin. The transport system in Dublin has improved hugely in the last 10 to 15 years. So we now have 2 light rail networks, the red and the green Lewis line, which are interconnected in Dublin. We have the Dart line, which runs along the coastline of Dublin Bay from Greystones and Wicklow all the way up to Malahide and Howth in North County Dublin. Dublin Bus obviously has always existed, but it has more routes than ever. And now some of those routes are also 24 hours. Dublin bikes and cycling in general, and I think particularly now in these COVID times, Dublin is a very flat city. It has always been very popular for English language, for international students, for students in general in Dublin to take bicycles. For those of us who live in Dublin, we know that more than ever new bike tracks are being put down and being constructed. So this is going to be, I suppose, the future as well of the city. So a very well-connected city all around. Any student who chooses to study in Dublin and in Ireland will, of course consider the social and the cultural aspect of life here. So some of you may be familiar with the riddle from James Joyce's Ulysses: good puzzle would be cross Dublin without passing a pub. So it's certainly true that there is a thriving nightlife in Dublin and a pub life. This was I suppose, died a little bit of a death during the COVID period, but we're happy to say that the pubs have reopened and that this aspect of student life has returned. So it's culturally as well, it's an important aspect of life here, from music and tradition. So we would always place great value on that aspect of student study. But from a cultural point of view, Dublin is a UNESCO City of Literature, which is home to the Book of Kells, which is housed, of course, in the famous Trinity College. But Dublin is also brimming with museums and galleries and exhibitions year round. So the National Gallery, which is home to some of Ireland's favourite artists, such as Jack Yeats, and also to a Caravaggio, which I am regularly reminded of. And I suppose part of the charm of Dublin is the mingling of the old and the new, so the historic and the contemporary. So you go from Christchurch and Dublinia and Viking Dublin to Trinity College, down as far as the Georgian Squares, where some of the language schools are located. And then you find yourself down in the Docklands, which have been hugely renovated and completely transformed in the past 20 years, 20, 30 years. So this is where, and I will touch on this a little bit later, where now is known as the Silicon Docks. So it stretches from the Silicon Docks as far as the Financial Services Centre, which is a lot of the large multinational banking and financial institutions. And Silicon Docks is home to a lot of the fintech and sci-tech companies in Dublin, which Ireland has become known for in recent years. Part of the beauty in Dublin, and like I touched on already in terms of quality of life, I think a huge selling point of Dublin now for a capital city and a large city is the fact that within 30 or 40 minutes, you can be standing outside the GPO in O'Connell Street or outside Brown Thomas on Grafton Street, and within 30 or 40 minutes, you can be hiking in the Dublin Mountains or swimming at the 40-foot or on a boat in Howth or Dunleary. So that proximity to the great outdoors is of greater value than ever. Jonathan also touched on this point, which I feel is a very important point going forward also. Traditionally, you know, students came to do an English language program. Now students are coming to do an English language program, but they want a plan, they want a pathway. Ireland and Dublin offers this option. There are 4 top universities located in Dublin: Trinity College Dublin, University College Dublin, Dublin City University, and the Technological University of Dublin. But there are also many, many more public and private third-level colleges in Dublin where students can achieve master's and undergraduate and postgraduate qualifications. There is also, since 2017, so for students who have completed a master's, international students who've completed a master's in Dublin, there is a stay-back visa that used to be for 12 months, but now students who've completed a master's or postgraduate study here from a recognised awarding body have the right to stay in Ireland for 24 months or 2 years after they receive their qualification. So it gives them the opportunity to look for work, to look for other opportunities, to apply for a work permit. So they do have, you know, the world's their oyster once they reach this stage. I think it's important to touch on the work and study program, because for Mexican students, it is of course very important. Students, it is important to reassure you also now that part-time work is very much readily available now in Dublin. And I'm sure Mark and Elvis will say the same in their cities. The minimum wage here in Ireland is €10.20 per hour. There is talk of this increasing further. Students have the right, as you know, to work 20 hours during term time and 40 hours during holiday periods. So this gives them the opportunity to obviously earn while they work, which is a huge selling point, I know, for Mexican students who are thinking about coming to Ireland. And in this time when things are reopening now, more than ever, all of us who are living here, students have no problem finding work, and all of the schools within Select and here on this call today offer ample supports to students to help them with their CV, to give them some guidance on where they should look for work. Long term, of course, there are also opportunities in Ireland. So this pathway I spoke about for Mexican students coming to Ireland to learn English, to go on and maybe do a further qualification in third level, and then to look for job opportunities. There are plenty here. Ireland is the European headquarters for many years of Facebook and Google. There are so many new arrivals, though, to the Silicon Docks area of Dublin, from Dropbox, LinkedIn, TikTok, more recently, HubSpot, Slack, Amazon, but even beyond that, you know, in blue chip and pharmaceutical companies, the opportunities in Ireland are great for young, ambitious students. Then to touch on accommodation. So in recent years, there are a lot of new residential and purpose-built student residences in Ireland and in Dublin, with single room and private bathroom. And there are, of course, the traditional residences which still exist with shared facilities, also available to students. For Mexican students, traditionally, the host family option, and Ireland has always been very popular for host family accommodation. So Ireland has a reputation for the people being warm and welcoming. I think Mexican people get on very well, they're very chatty and vivacious, and this fits in well with the family-centred and family-centric culture here in Ireland. So in Dublin and Cork, host families live in the suburbs, so surrounding the city usually, but within easily commuting distance of the city centre and of the schools. And then in Galway, actually many of the host families are within walking distance. So that is the information that I'm going to give you today on Dublin. I hope it gives you a good picture of Ireland now and Dublin now. The Dublin schools on the call today are ATC Language School, Atlas Language School, Centre of English Studies, Janice is here from the Horner School of English, and the Emerald Cultural Institute. So those are the contact details of the different schools. If there is anything that you want to ask, you can of course put it in the chat box. And thank you for your time.
Thanks, Scarlett. Thank you, Scarlett. So we'll go from Dublin. Scarlett, well done. And we're coming across to Elvis. Elvis is in Atlantic Language in Galway. So Elvis, when you're ready, if you want to share your presentation with us.
Hello, everyone. So I hope you're seeing the right screen now. Nice to meet you. My name is Elvis Sena. I'm a former student from Atlantic Language Galway, and today I'm representing the 2 schools in the west of Ireland here. And as after this beautiful presentation of Scarlett, I'm going to be talking about a few other important things about Galway and reminding you how important and beautiful is studying and being in Ireland. As you can see, our map is a bit small, but full of nice places to go visit and experience here. Yeah, perfect. So I'm representing here today Galway Language Centre, also known as British Mills and Atlantic Language School, the school that I work for. And as mentioned before about the Dublin Airport, it's really easy to get to Galway from the Dublin Airport. Is the main airport, especially for Latin students. As me, when I arrived here, I get to the Dublin Airport and get a bus. A shuttle bus service is leaving every hour from the Dublin Airport and takes 2.5 hours to arrive in Galway. And they can come safely in the comfort of the bus with their Wi-Fi, and it's a really calm journey to all the students. Coming to Galway City, it's a beautiful and stunning city with a lot of things to do and a lot of experience to have. Galway, it's really famous for their buskers in the streets. Music, it's something really important in the city. It's different of Dublin. It's not like a million people city. Around now we have around 90 K people here living in Galway, but we have around 100,000 people coming every moment, for festivals, for special occasions. It's a very tourist city, even for people that's living in Ireland. because like as you can see in those few photos, those beautiful locations, such as the shop street that's full of colors and life all the time, and also Salt Hill, that's my neighborhood, the place that I love the most in Galway. It's at the beach area here that the students can have a nice walk to the prom, and also go like for like swimming and such other activities around that area. Galway is a totally walkable city, like 100%. We have like also a great bus service that I really take advantage of that because I don't like walking that much, but mostly of our students, they walk a lot and they cycle a lot. So like cycling and walking in the street in Galway, it's really possible. It's a small city, really comfortable and really safe. Like when it comes to quality life in Ireland, Galway is one of the best places as well, because here we can feel safe any time of the day and any time of the year. Um, Coming through outside like County Galway and also the Wild Atlantic Way, it's one of the most beautiful things that I have seen in my life when I come to Ireland. And from Galway, you can easily get to the cliffs of Moher, to Kilmore Abbey, Connemara National Park, and Northern Island. And those trips are the students' favorite ones during the weekend. It's part of the social programs also that the schools offer in Galway. So all the students can safely book their trips with the schools, and they will have information and direction about everything. But if they're like more brave and want to rent a car and go through the Wild Atlantic Way, they are going to be very happy with everything that they can see in this part of in the west of Ireland. Coming to the Irish festivals, and it's something that I really appreciate here, all the opportunities and happiness that it's involved in this country. We have like festivals all over the year and everywhere in Ireland, such as the Cork Jazz Festival, and of course the Dublin Parade for the St. Patrick's Day. And this is really important for Mexican students, not only for the opportunity of have fun and enjoy, but those festivals create a lot of job opportunities, like for people working with like hospitality and in the city, but also for the festivals, like support and the concerts and like in the parades and the presentations. Also, not only like paid jobs, but volunteer jobs in case you have a short-term students that want to be part of the program and want to participate and get to know people. Volunteer jobs are something really important in Ireland that people is really involved all the time. When it comes to Galway, it's more important. Like the festivals here, we have like two massive events that happen between July and August. The first one is the Galway International Art Festival that brings a lot of people from all over the world to experience art and like the exhibitions that happen in the city. Down in the right side, you can see one of the parades that happen in the narrow streets of Galway, and people get to be like fascinated with everything, like with all the events and opportunity that happen here. In the top left here, you can see the Galway races. That is the second most popular event in my opinion, but for Irish people, I would say that would be the most popular event in Ireland, because everyone comes to Galway to bet and the races, to enjoy the races. And once again, those events create a lot of job opportunities for the students that are here for the long term. Talking about the schools, like in the left side, you can see Atlantic Language School, the school that I work for, and I'm for a former student. And in the right side, you can see British Meals, the Galway Language Center. And the map of the city, you'd notice that the schools are not that far away from each other. Would be like a 10 minutes walk. As I said before, Galway is a small city, like walkable, like 90%, 100% of the time. And from Atlantic Language Galway, you have like just 2 minutes to be in the right of like the heart of the city, that is I Square. From Galway Language Center would be 7 minutes maximum. But in this map, those streets that you can see will be basically the center of Galway, and where the students will mostly work, be in pubs, enjoy their activities. And talking also about the schools and the opportunities, and we offer all the general English options for students, us or British meals. We have all the IELTS preparation, Cambridge preparation, those all those programs that Latin American students are looking for all the time. Student support, it's something that I faced when I was a student, and now it's my responsibility all the time here. And I select 4 topics that will be really important and more common for students to ask even the agent and or ourselves when they are here. The first one is like the banking account. Irish schools has like partnership with Irish banks to help students to apply for the banking account, and for the future be used like when they get paid from their jobs, and also to bring the money that they brought to prove in the immigration process to an Irish bank. The visa application process, we have a checklist, and all the schools make sure that the student has the right documents to go to the immigration application, and they understand as well. We make sure that they had understand all the process, how to apply their visa, because a few things has changed over the last year because of the pandemic, of course, but the system is still really really easy going to manage. Job search, as I mentioned, a lot of job opportunities. We also help the students and preparing them with job clubs, workshop, extra classes, talking about CV, how to apply for jobs, the right websites, and help them with like the main like questions for interview, like your first interview in English. And college pathway, as mentioned by Scarlett before, we have like a lot of good universities in Ireland, but we have 2 main universities in Galway. That's the NUID and the MIT. Those are the student favorite when they want to apply for a master degree, post-graduation, or doctor. And also we have partnership with those universities to bring workshop for the students, to bring them information and to help them to prepare themselves as best as we can with the IELTS preparation and so on. A few facts about like accommodation. Host family, it's a thing in Ireland and in Galway especially. We have a few host families that are really popular. I think Patrick can say the same. A few students, when they return to us or when they are recommending the school to other friends, they mention about that special family that received them and helped them through the process. And our host families are really engaging with the students, and that's a lovely experience. But also we have student residents that will be self-catering and sharing living space for the student. But Galway, even though it's a small city, has a good number of like B&B hotels and hostels for the students. I'd mentioned before, like the bus service in Galway, it's really good, but also to get to other places such as Cork, Dublin, Limerick, we have the rail service, the Irish rail service, that's an amazing quality, and the student has a special price for that, and they have a lot of timetables, so they get to know a lot of places. Coming back to employing opportunities, not only hospitality, but in Galway, it's also important to highlight the pharmaceuticals opportunities. We have a lot of big pharmaceuticals companies here that can be a second step for the student once they finish like their first visa here with a higher level of English. They can apply for jobs that will provide them a work permit, or even after like the university, the master, when they have the stamp G1 visa, that they can be working for jobs, being like able to apply for big pharmaceutical companies and other offices also that are in Galway, such as gaming companies. EE Games is here as well, are really good. The universities are NUID, as you can see in this top photo here, and in the right down the right here, GMIT. I want to show this small video of Galway just to get like a flavor of the festivals and the atmosphere in the city, and I hope you enjoy. So once again, thank you so much for the opportunity to be like representing the schools in the west of Ireland. And we were talking about like Galway Language Centre, Bridget Mills, and Atlantic Language School. And I hope to see your students very soon in Ireland with us.
Thank you, Elvis. That's great. Thank you, Elvis. So we'll pass on to our last presentation. So Mark Cullen in Cork is going to tell us a little bit about Cork as a study destination. Mark, when you're ready.
Perfect. Hello, everybody. Just 1 second there now, and I will just get this going. Hope that's, you can see that properly. All right. Good afternoon. Well, very difficult to follow such fantastic presentations by both Elvis and Scarlett. I'm going to have to try. As has been said, Mark Cullen's my name, from Cork English College, based here in Cork, and I'm going to give you some information on studying in Cork. The two schools that are here today from Cork are ourselves and also Joelle from Active Centre of English Training. So to give you an idea on Cork itself, it's a university city with many third level universities located here. We have UCC and MTU. Other private colleges located around the city also. It's a very compact city, which is essentially built on two islands with the river flowing around it, a very beautiful city. We've celebrated well over 800 years here, so quite an old city and a lot of historic things to do. There's the international airport is located quite close to the city centre, only 4 kilometres away. At present, they are resurfacing the runway, so hopefully the airport will be back open by the end of the year, with many routes throughout Europe. The city itself has a rich heritage with many museums, galleries and theatres, and a population of approximately 200,000 people. So it's not a very large city, nor is it a very small city, but as I said, it is very compact, which makes it a very comfortable place for students to live and study. According to the Lonely Planet travel guide, in fact, Cork was named as one of the top 10 cities in the world to visit back in 2010. I think Yahoo Travel also named it as one of the top 10 destinations in Europe a couple of years later. So we're not doing too badly there. And there's some images of different locations around the city to visit. So as a good Cork person, I have to say that Cork is known as the real capital. Even though Dublin claims to be the capital, us down here in the south call it the real capital. And you can see two great maps there. You have the original map of Ireland with Cork, Dublin and Galway, and the other map that we use down here, which is Cork and the rest of Ireland, which obviously is not Cork. So Cork, as I said, it's known as the Rebel City and County. We're about 2.5 hours from Dublin by bus and coach. There are direct transfer services from Dublin Airport to Cork. It's extremely easy to get here. As I said, multicultural, vibrant city, around 200,000 people. Difference between Dublin and Cork would be Cork is a little bit cheaper, more relaxed paced way of life, more similar to Galway. And of course, Cork is the perfect perfect spot to start your visit to the Ireland's ancient East and of course the wild Atlantic way. I'm going to show you just a quick video which will give you just a taste of what Cork has to offer. They say a picture is worth 1,000 words. Let's go and fingers crossed that this works.
I really love you. We've been through. Get pushed to the side. Standing and alright. After all, I really need you. Don't know how I've lived without you. Days they go by, and you're always there on my side. Get along my joy. There are times I get distracted, girl, by the ways walking inside this wall, but I think you as my lifestyle, and I'm glad that I'm losing your mind when I'm far from home and lonely, and I think about my life. I think about you, all the little things that you do, and I'm glad you're mine. There are times I get distracted, girl, by the waves walking inside this wall, but I think of you as my last run, and I'm glad that I'm losing your mind.
Thank you very much. And we'll just move on 1 second. Oh, there we go. So that was just, as I said, a short video just to give an idea on some of the many things that students can get to do and visit and experience while here in the South. Ireland has so many different types of countryside, different types of activities, different histories, and they're just some of the things you can do in Cork. So here we have just some of the areas that students can visit: Blackrock Castle, Shandon Bells, Cove, which of course is very famous because it's the last port of call of Titanic. We don't have any sailing programs out of there, obviously. And then you have other places such as the Allihies, you have Gugan Barrow, which you will have seen also in that video, Bantry. There's so many different things to do. And it's a perfect location. As I said, Cork is the largest county in Ireland. And there's so many different areas and so many different places that you can go and visit. Also, Cork is very famous for its food and drink. Kinsale, which is a small town quite close to Cork, I should have included a picture of it, would be considered as one of the gourmet centres of Ireland. Fantastic restaurants, seafood, all very fresh food. And some of the positives that have come out of the pandemic, we now have lots of outdoor dining, which we wouldn't have had before. And it's a new way to experience dining and Cork itself. Now, studying English and experiencing Cork, which is really important. In fact, this tower there in the photograph is known as the Four-Faced Lyre. So for anybody who does come to visit Cork, you'll see that there is a clock face on each side. No matter how many times the engineers fix that clock to exactly the same time, give it an hour, and every time is different. Every clock face is different. It's known as the Four-Faced Lyre here in Cork. So some of the programs that would be available in select schools, such as in schools in Dublin, Galway, and here in Cork, would be as follows: a full range of general and intensive English programs, business courses, combination programs, one-to-one executive English programs, and corporate English programs. So each of our schools are similar in many aspects and slightly different also in many aspects. So it's good to look at the offerings of each of the individual schools. Our study and work programs are excellent, and as my colleagues, what Elvis and Scarlett have explained, we have a full support system in place. We have a very robust system for any students who are coming to Ireland to study and work. Whether it's from the student who arrives in with a low level of English, who doesn't know what to do, we're here to support them, to help them, take them through the full experience of opening their bank account, going to immigration, and also looking for jobs, getting prepared for them, their CV preparation, interview techniques, etc. We have so many extra programs and courses which we offer. Amongst our schools, there are many exams, and many of us would be official examination centres. So your students can actually not only study and prepare with us, but they can actually take exams with us. So we have Cambridge, IELTS, OET, Language Cert, LinguaSkill, Trinity, to name but a few. The list goes on, but you're sure that with select schools, you will be able to sit these exams with us. Some other programs, as I said, the exam preparation programs, which are run in all of the schools, are varying different durations, which would suit your clients depending on what they're looking for. And we also have many ESP programs. So English for specific purposes, such as aviation or military English, university preparation program, which have been referred to by both my colleagues, are really important programs. Exceptional teacher training programs, and also OET preparation, which is medical English. Apart from our adult programs, we also have junior programs which run during the summer, and there are a variety of different programs run between all of the schools that are here today, from multi-activity to football, rugby, journalism, water sports, music, you name it. And this list could go on for a couple of pages, but this is just a sample of some of the programs, and I would ask you to look at the schools that are here and have a look at their websites for a more fuller list of everything that's on offer. We also have high school programs and winter school groups. So if anybody does have any questions, feel free to contact any of us and we can prepare quotations for you. If anybody does have any questions, feel free to contact either ACIT here in Cork or ourselves, and here are our contact details. And as Jonathan mentioned earlier, para los que prefieren mandar mensajes en español, yo también hablo español. So you can send them in English or in Spanish. I'd like to say thank you very much. And if anybody has any questions, feel free to ask them. Thank you.
Thanks, Mark. That's great. Thank you very much, Mark.
No problem.
Get everybody back into view. So I had two quick questions that came in there during the talk. Janice, if I could just put a question to you, and Joelle, if I could put a question to you as well. Janice, the question about jobs for Mexican students. What types of jobs are currently available in Ireland for Mexican students, or where might Mexican students get work?
Well, certainly at the moment, in the immediate city centre of Dublin, we can see that every coffee shop, cafe, restaurant, they're all looking for afternoon, evening and weekend part-time staff. Also, anecdotally, we're being reached out to by some of the hotels who are also looking for housekeeping staff and also bar staff. Certainly a lot of the job hours would be part-time, so it would work very well with a morning or an afternoon English language course timetable. There definitely seems to be plenty of jobs out there. And it's a good opportunity for anybody who's going to arrive into Ireland in the next 6 months, I would say.
Great, Janice. Thank you for that, Janice. And Joelle, in Cork, can I ask you a question here? Are host families taking students at the moment? Can students come in and stay with host families?
Yes, we're finding that a lot of our host families, especially with the uptake of vaccinations here in Ireland, are willing to take students. They want to get back with the experience of having foreign students in their homes. I think between Mark and ourselves, we do have quite a good selection of good host families that have worked with us for more than 20 years and are looking forward to get students again.
Great, thanks, Joel. Thanks for that. And Jonathan, if I can put a question to you, just questions come in there from Lionel. Is it possible to apply for a first-time visa at the moment with the INIS? Is the immigration office open and allowing students to register at the moment in country?
If I'm not mistaken, they are. Yeah, I've been driving by them and they are. So yeah, because they're on kind of Burkey, so their offices are open.
Yep.
And as the guys have said, and I can't stress enough just what Janet, I mean, out behind us here, unfortunately, there's 3 very famous pubs very close to me, and each of them are looking for bar staff, waiting staff. So for those students that do want to come over, you know, as we've said before, the gates are open, and the jobs, obviously, students must have the correct English language level, etc. But because the country's opening up, there's plenty of opportunities. And now that the fact that the INIS office is open on Burkey, yeah, we're good to go. So
great.
Green lights all around, God willing.
Great. Green lights in Galway too. And Mark and Joel in Cork, the immigration office is open also processing visas at the moment. Is that correct?
Yes, we have students that have been making appointments and have been having no problems. I assume it's the same with you, Mark, and students as well.
Yeah, everything's getting back to normal slowly but surely, which is great.
Great, that's great.
Hi, Patrick. I do have a question.
Hey.
Hi,
Yes, please,
my name
go
is
ahead.
Tiago.
Hi, Tiago, how are you? Go ahead.
Thank you very much. I'm from Egali, and we do have a question about how are you guys preparing yourselves to receive the student who does not travel in 2020 and now they want to go, and also how are you going to manage the new inscriptions? So I suppose you have like, I don't know, 60, 70, 100 or 200 places on your school, and whenever those people want to traveling from 2020 and from now you guys are open already, what's your plan to solve the problem to the new student who want to go like that? I think you guys are gonna be like stuck of people very soon. So do you have any plans? I would like to hear about Jonathan Quinn first, if I can. Sorry.
Yeah, no, it's going to have to be done keeping nationality mix in mind, but there's going to be there's no doubt in my mind, for example, the Turkish, for example, embassy opened up a while ago. So there's a big group of Turkish students that are going to come through. And whereas the European students are coming, it's drip, drip, drip. I don't think we're going to see a flood you know, I know that there's huge pent up demand in Brazil, Mexico, Chile, Argentina for students to travel. Flights are going to be one question. But all of the schools, and I know the level of quality that we have, we're all very conscious of nationality mix. There's going to be a slight blip. I think definitely that there's going to be, in some instances, possibly a few percent more than we would normally have, for the simple fact that other students aren't traveling. But it's also going to have to require, and I hate to say this, patience on your guys' behalf, because if you want the level of quality that we're normally accustomed to delivering, we're going to have to give each other a bit of time, because we're very conscious of the fact we need to get students, as Scarlett mentioned, we need to get them on the planes, we need to get them into the country. But we also need to keep in mind that when we're reopening, like for example, in CES, we opened on 19th of July, and we had some classrooms with 6 or 7 students in them that normally have 14 or 15. And a lot of the classes are still at that. So our capacity has also been reduced. So I think we possibly, I'm speaking out of turn, but we're all going to do our best, but it's going to have to be very much working hand in hand with you guys, because it ain't going to work unless we do that. That would be my take on the situation. Patience and flexibility, I think, are the two key words.
Yeah, Jonathan, I think we can say the same for Galway and for Cork. Mark and Joel, would you support those comments?
I would agree with Jonathan 100%. It's going to be slow. I think it's very important for the students who are considering coming over to Ireland to maybe have a look back at the last 12 months and have a look at how all of the schools right across the board reacted in times of crisis. I think if you take a look at the schools that are on the call here today, and if you were to look at reviews from students on forums, you'll see how all of the schools here reacted immediately and supported students. They provided online training straight away. We were as soon as we were shut down, within a week, we were up and ready and supporting students. So the students that are looking to come into the country, I think the question now is on our partners, and the emphasis is on our partners abroad to maybe educate the students a little better towards looking for more of a quality product than looking for a cheap product. The schools that are here today, what we sell is quality products, and we all have a good level of European business. It may not be as large as other areas, but all of us were able to open when we were allowed to open with EU business, and we opened straight away with our arms open, welcoming European business in. And I think, as Jonathan mentioned, nationality mix is paramount. It's really important, and as long as we can provide our agents with information on how the bookings are going and how the percentages are from different nationalities, I think we'll get through it. But it'll be, I think the issue between now and Christmas is going to be more an accommodation issue, because that is limited in Ireland. So I think that is going to naturally reduce the high volume coming in, which will hopefully give us some time to be ready to welcome students in the new year.
Great, Mark, thanks. Okay then, well, I think we'll probably finish at this point, but please feel free to follow up with us by email if you have any other questions. We're of course delighted to welcome students back to Ireland and delighted to be open again. And we look forward to a busy and successful 2022 with all of our schools and all of our agents working together, and looking forward to welcoming Mexican students back. I just want to say a few thank yous if I could. I just wanted to mention Ana Arroyo at the Enterprise Ireland office in Mexico, who gave me contact details and allowed me to get in touch with you as Enterprise Ireland members, and also Barry O'Driscoll at the Enterprise Ireland offices in Dublin, who also helped me with organising today's event. Thank you to our presenters, Elva Sena at Atlantic Language Galway, Mark Cullen at Cork English College, Scarlett O'Hara at Emerald Cultural Institute, and Jonathan Quinn at Centre of English Studies for your insightful and useful presentations today. And thank you to the other schools who are here on the call, my own school, Bridgman's Galway Language Centre, ACET in Cork, ATC in Dublin, Atlas Language School in Dublin, and the Horner School in Dublin. Thank you for coming along today. Thank you all for attending, and please follow up with us, and we look forward to seeing you all and welcoming you all to Ireland soon. Thanks everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you, Pat. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye everyone.